even Samparetaha is dead, Varteta continues to live, Yaha anyone who Atyanta very much Nrishamsitena by executing cruel activities. Dehe when the body Mrite is finished. Tam him Manujaha all human beings Shapanti condemn Ganta he will go Tamaha Andham to hellish life Tanumaninaha of a person in the bodily concept of life Dhruvam without a doubt. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Translation: a person who is very cruel is regarded as dead even while living, for while he is living or after his death, everyone condemns him. And after the death of a person, the bodily concept of life, he is undoubtedly transferred to the hell known as Andhatama. Please repeat this translation after me. A person who is very cruel is regarded as dead even while living. For while he is living or after his death, everyone condemns him. And after the death of a person, in the bodily concept of life, he is undoubtedly transferred to the hell known as Andhatama. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. It's a long purport. Please hear very patiently. Kamsa considered that if he killed his sister, while living he would be condemned by everyone, and after death he would go to the darkest region of hellish life because of his cruelty. It is said that a cruel person like a butcher is advised not to live and not to die. While living, a cruel person creates a hellish condition for his next birth, and therefore he should not live. But he is also advised not to die because after death he must go to the darkest region of hell. Thus, in either circumstance, he is condemned. Kamsa, therefore, having a good sense about the signs of the soul's transmigration, deliberately refrained from killing Devaki. In this verse, the words Ganta Tamondham Tanumanino Dhruvam are very important and require extensive understanding. Srila Jiva Goswami in his Vaishnava Toshani Tika says, Tatra Tanumaninaha Papina iti Dehatma Buddhyaiva Papabhinivesho Bhavati. One who lives in the bodily concept, thinking I am this body, involves himself by the very nature of this conception in a life of sinful activities. Anyone living such a conception is to be considered a candidate for hell. Adanta gobhir vishatam tamisram Punah punascharvita charvananam. One who is in a bodily concept of life has no control over sense gratification. Such a person can do anything sinful to eat, drink, be merry, and enjoy a life of sense gratification, not knowing of the soul's transmigration from one body to another. Such a person does whatever he likes, whatever he imagines, and therefore, being subject to the laws of nature, he suffers miserably again and again in different material bodies. Yavat kriyastavad idam manovai karmatmakam yena sharira bandhaha. In the bodily concept of life, a person is karmanubandha or conditioned by karma. And as long as the mind is absorbed in karma, one must accept a material body. Sharira bandha, bondage to the material body, is a source of misery, kleshada. Na sadhu manye yata atmanoyam asannapi kleshada asadeha. Although the body is temporary, it always gives one trouble in many ways. But human civilization is now unfortunately based on tanumani, the bodily concept of life, by which one thinks, I belong to this nation, I belong to this group, I belong to that group, and so on. Each of us has his own ideas, and we are becoming increasingly involved individually, socially, communally, and nationally in the complexities of karmanubandha, sinful activities. For the maintenance of the body, men are killing so many other bodies and becoming implicated in karmanubandha. Therefore, Srila Jiva Goswami says that tanumani, those in the bodily concept of life, are papi, sinful persons. For such sinful persons, the ultimate destination is the darkest region of hellish life, ganta tamo andham. In particular, a person who wants to maintain his body by killing animals is most sinful and cannot understand the value of spiritual life. In Bhagavad Gita 16.19 to 20, the Lord says, Tanaham dvishata kruran samsareshu naradhaman kshipami ajasram ashubhan asurishveva yonishu. Asurim yonimapanna mudha janmani janmani mamaprapyaiva kaunteya tato yanti adhamam gatim. Those who are envious and mischievous, who are the lowest among men, are cast by me into the ocean of material existence, into various demoniac species of life. Attaining repeated birth among the species of demoniac life, such persons can never approach me. Gradually they sink down to the most abominable type of existence. A human being is meant to understand the value of human life, which is a boon obtained after many, many births. Therefore, one must free oneself from tanumani, the bodily concept of life, and realize the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. We would have heard so many discourses by Prabhupada or so many talks. Practically, in most of the talks, Prabhupada is stressing, you are not the body, you are spirit soul. Prabhupada is stressing, get out of the bodily concept of life. And Prabhupada also says, people are suffering simply because they are in the bodily concept of life. So, this verse, this 22nd verse in the 2nd chapter, 10th canto, is helping us understand why it is so dangerous to be in the bodily concept of life. What is told here? After the death of a person in the bodily concept of life, he is undoubtedly transferred to the hell known as Andhatama. Can you imagine? Just because I live a life, I may be living a pious life, okay? But I don't come out of bodily concept of life and I die in such consciousness, remaining in the bodily concept. Then what is my destination? Even though I might have executed only pious activities, even though by worldly standards I might have been a nice man, nice person, but I did not do anything to get out of bodily concept of life. Then my destination is undoubtedly to be transferred to the hell known as Andhatama. In the Bhagavatam 5th canto, last chapter, 26th chapter, Parikshit Maharaj is asking Shukadev Goswami to describe all the different types of places in this universe. Why is he asking? Not in the 5th canto, he's not asking there. He's asked earlier only. He is asking so that he can decide what should be my destination after I quit this body. So Shukadeva Goswami systematically describes all the different kinds of planetary systems. And the last description in the 5th canto, essentially it's in the 5th canto, this description of different kinds of planets in this universe. So the last chapter describes the hellish planets. Now, sometimes people think that hellish planets are also like so many planets that are there, variety of planets in this universe. No. Hellish planets are entirely different from all the varieties of planets where there are different standards of living. So the actual planets meant for living entities to live according to their karma, according to what they deserve, is from Brahmaloka up to Pataloka. 14 planetary systems. You would have heard of this many times. Sometimes the classification is only 3 planetary systems, upper, middle and lower. But either you classify or you read the classification as upper, middle or lower, or you know the classification as 14 planetary systems. Earth and above is 7 and below the earth 7. But none of these are including the hellish planets. Before reading Bhagavatam, I did not know that. I always used to think hell means the lowest planet among the many planets. But hellish planets are not included in the 14 planetary systems, are not included in the description of this universe where suitable living place is awarded to every kind of living being according to their karma. But what people do not know is that even though it is true that we get a suitable body according to our past actions to live in this world, in whichever place we are transferred, but the hellish planets are specifically meant for simply punishment for specific types of activities a person performs in any of the different forms of human life. Human life means our destination is not fixed simply based on getting human form of life. No. Which means that if you get any other form of body lower than the human form of body is the highest type of body you can get. The best body you can get. 84 lakh species. But 80 lakh species, whichever type of body they get, their destination is fixed. Their destination is fixed. It is one of the planets in these 14 planetary systems, and one of the types of bodies up to the point one gets the human form of body. So within the 80 lakh species, lower creatures, it's all fixed. But human form of life is the, as Prabhupada many times has explained, junction point. Now, based on your type of activities you perform, you may take birth in the next life as in the upper planetary system, or the middle planetary system, or the lower planetary system, or your destination may be going to hell for punishment. And this is only for human beings. This destination called punishment in hell is only for human beings. Therefore, in the third canto, already it has been explained that, already means we have come to the 10th canto. Third canto has been explained that Lord Kapila, adverse fruitive activities, description of adverse fruitive activities. It means they are performing fruitive activities, but the result is they are going to be punished in hell. They're going to be punished in hell. So it is very, 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 very risky. After having got the human form of life, to remain in ignorance. Therefore, Acharyas like Prabhupada, especially the Vaishnava Acharyas, they have so much compassion for the suffering living entities, especially in human form, because they will have to suffer the worst kind of suffering if they remain in the bodily concept. Why? Because they're guaranteed to be transferred to the hell known as Andatama if they remain in the bodily concept. Merely by remaining in the bodily concept. It doesn't talk of, you've done this kind of sin, that kind of sin. For that, there are different other hells. You know that there are 22 types of hells or 26 types of hellish planets. So each one is meant for a specific category of sinful activity. So therefore, Prabhupada says in this purport, to remain in the bodily concept of life. When we take birth, we are in the bodily concept. That's why we got the body. But when you got a human form of body, you must get out of this bodily concept, otherwise you're going to go to hell. So, now you can better appreciate why Prabhupada is stressing, you're not the body, you're not the body, you're not the body. Out of compassion for suffering souls. You're already suffering because of being in the material world. But your suffering is the worst kind of suffering if you don't get out of this bodily concept of life. So in addition to avoiding those sinful activities because of which we will directly be transferred to hell at the end of this life. Those kind of sinful activities are summarized in 4 regulative principles. No meat eating, no intoxication, no gambling, no illicit sex. Because these 4 activities means guaranteed person is going to hell immediately after this life. Guaranteed he is going to hell. But not only 4 regulative principles, those who break are going to hell. Even those who are remaining in bodily concept of life. So you realize the seriousness of practicing Krishna consciousness, at least come out of the bodily concept of life. And that's why Prabhupada often quotes this 5th canto, 5th chapter. In the Bhagavad Gita also is quoted. Many places he quotes. Many times he is quoted. In the, which chapter is it? I can't remember. 5th chapter. Yeah, 5th chapter. Yeah. In the 5th chapter, 2nd verse of the Bhagavad Gita, here Prabhupada in this purport has partially quoted, but in the 5th chapter, 2nd verse of Bhagavad Gita, he is quoting 3 verses from the 5th canto, 5th chapter of the Bhagavatam. The Lord Rishabdev's instructions to his 100 sons in that. Prabhupada is quoting here verses 4, 5 and 6. So of these, here he has quoted the 5th verse and the 4th verse. But here in this Bhagavatam, he has included the 4, 5 and 6. Nunam pramatta kurute vikarma yad indriya pritaya aprunoti. People are mad after sense gratification and they do not know that the present body, which is full of miseries, sorry, that's not the exact translation of this. Nunam pramatta kurute vikarma. I don't think he's translated that portion. Yes. Yad indriya pritaya aprunoti means people are mad after sense gratification. Therefore, they engage in sinful activities. Pramatta kurute vikarma. Because they're mad after sense gratification. Na sadhu manye yata atmanoyam. But this is not very good. This is not proper. Because they do not know that this present body, which is full of miseries, is a result of one's fruitive activities in the past. Asannapi kleshada asa dehaha. And then, having got this human form of life, he says, Lord Rishabhdev says, Parabhavastavad abodha jato yavan na jijñāsata atma tattvam. One is considered to be a failure in life as long as he makes no inquiry about the nature of work for fruitive activities. Yavat kriyastavad idam manovai karmatmakam yena sharira bandhaha. For as long as one is engrossed in the consciousness of sense gratification, one has to transmigrate from one body to another. Although the mind may be engrossed in fruitive activities and influenced by ignorance, one must develop a love for devotional service to Vasudeva. Only then can one have the opportunity to get out of the bondage of material existence. Of course, here, Lord Rishabhdeva is talking in general about human beings engaged in varieties of fruitive activities. But in this particular verse in the Bhagavatam being discussed today, it is said that the person in the bodily concept of life, after the death in the present body, is undoubtedly transferred to the hell known as Andatama. So, therefore, Kamsa is thinking, imagine, Kamsa is a demon, but still, because he is in knowledge, he is not ignorant about this fact that he is considering that if he killed his sister, because he knew the Supreme Lord has taken shelter of Devaki's womb, is present in Devaki's womb, could make out. So, and the danger is from this 8th child which is going to be born. So, one thing he could have done is kill Devaki even before the child is born. So, once he kills Devaki, naturally the child also will die when the mother dies, before the child is born. So, that was one option, but he considered that what happens if I kill Devaki? He considered that if he killed his sister, while living he would be condemned by everyone. His own sister, who is helpless, who is pregnant, is so very cruel that he has killed her even before she could deliver the child. That means he's killed the mother and the child both. And after death, he would go to the darkest region of hellish life because of his cruelty. See, this Kamsa knew that I will actually have to suffer in hell for being so very cruel. And Prabhupada is telling here, a cruel person, like a butcher, is advised not to live and not to die. That is because while living, he is simply committing more and more sins by which he is guaranteed to transfer to hell for suffering. And if he dies, again because he has already committed so many sinful activities, he is definitely going to hell. So what can he do? He cannot live, he cannot die. That means he is condemned. He cannot escape this condemned life except if he takes to pure devotional service by the mercy of Krishna or his pure devotee. That's the only possibility for persons who are engaged in very, very, very sinful activities which are meant for, going to hell. But Prabhupada is not just addressing those who are very, very sinful. Even the pious people, if their pious activities are not meant to get them out of the bodily concept of life, they don't do anything to come out of the bodily concept. They remain in the bodily concept of life, even though they are engaged in pious activities. So they are also destined to go to hell. So therefore, Prabhupada says, please preach this Krishna consciousness and get them out of the bodily concept. Simply if they begin to chant Hare Krishna, they begin this pure devotional service, then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will save them. They'll definitely be saved from going to hell. They'll definitely be saved from going to hell. So at least for the sake of saving people from going to hell, we should preach Krishna consciousness to all categories of people. And certainly we must preach to even the pious people who in ignorance are not aware that their pious activities cannot save them from going to hell just because they are in the bodily concept of life and they remain in the bodily concept because they are not practicing Krishna consciousness. Which means that the only way to get out of this bodily concept of life is Krishna consciousness. And that's why Brihanaradi Purana says, Harer Nama, Harer Nama, Harer Namaiva Kevalam, Kalau Nastyaiva, Nastyaiva, Nastyaiva Gatiranyata. There is no other way in Kali Yuga other than this Harer Nama, Harinama. Other than Harinama, there is no other way. Why? Because this Harinama is the incarnation of the Lord who unconditionally appears on the tongue of a person who merely vibrates for the sake of uttering this Hare Krishna or the name of the Lord. Whether jokingly or while cursing somebody or while making fun of somebody, somehow or the other, if this Hare Krishna appears, the holy name appears on the tongue, Krishna will appear on his tongue. Personally, Krishna will appear. And Krishna's appearance means at least the person is saved from going to hell. That's the minimum benefit. Minimum benefit. But there are unfortunate people, as Prabhupada once told, that one lady was telling her husband somehow to get him to chant because she became a devotee. Chant, chant, chant. She's repeatedly telling and he is not taking to chanting. Because she knows the only way he can be saved is if he takes to chanting. But he is telling, can't, can't, can't. See, at least if he told, I can't chant your Hare Krishna, he would have been saved. So, the fact is, that unfortunate people somehow, they may somehow take to some pious activities. They may do so many other things. But if they don't take to this chanting Hare Krishna, then these other pious activities will not bring them out of the bodily concept of life. And then because of remaining in the bodily concept and thereby irresponsibly living this human form of life, the punishment, irresponsibility. Irresponsibility also is punishable by the laws of nature. Irresponsibility is punishable. Because you got this such a wonderful opportunity that simply by chanting the name of God, you can escape hell. So that you are not mindful of that, so then you must suffer the consequence of remaining in the bodily concept. So this is the most important point in this verse. Prabhupada has elaborately explained this, and the most important, again, the point is Prabhupada quoting Jiva Goswami, who says, Srila Jiva Goswami says, those in the bodily concept of life are papi, sinful persons. Why? Because for such sinful persons, the ultimate destination is the darkest region of hellish life. Andhatama. Okay, I'll stop here. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada.